Ever stop to think about how you actually teach an entire language right from scratch? Well, today we're going to peek inside a document that does just that. This is the very first English textbook for third graders in Algeria. Let's dive in and see how they do it.
I mean, that's a huge question, right? Just put yourself in their shoes for a sec. You're a third grader, you open this book, and it's a language you've never even heard spoken much. Where on earth do you begin? Well, this textbook, it gives us a really fascinating roadmap.
So we're going to follow the exact path this book lays out for these kids, from their very first word all the way to a simple conversation. And you'll see the journey doesn't start with boring grammar rules. Nope, it begins with a really warm, encouraging welcome. And this is literally on one of the first pages. It says, "Dear learner, this is your first book in the English language, and you are about to learn it for the first time at school with joy." I love that. Right from the get-go, the whole tone is set. This isn't going to be a chore, it's an adventure you do with joy. That one simple phrase just reframes the whole experience. It makes it exciting from page 1. So where does this adventure actually begin? Well, the very first unit is called, you guessed it, My First English Class. It's all about just setting the stage for everything that's to come. Okay, check this out. Before a student even learns to say hello, they learn how to do things in an English classroom. Things like listen, look, say, draw. These are like the fundamental verbs of learning, you know? The teacher can use these commands and the student knows exactly what to do, all without needing to speak a single sentence yet. It's brilliant. And this right here, this reveals the book's core strategy. It's a multi-sensory method. You hear it and you see it, then you listen and you show it, then you listen and repeat it, and finally, you say it and show it. You see how each step reinforces the last? It's building this solid foundation on physical interaction, not just, boring memorization. So after all that action, we get to the abstraction, the ABCs, the actual building blocks of the written language. And look how they do it. They put the small and capital letters right next to each other. That way the kids immediately see the connection. Simple, but so effective. All right, so once those basic building blocks, the letters and the action words are in place, the curriculum does something really smart. It gets personal. The next unit brings the language right into the student's home, focusing on their world. And what's more relevant to a kid than their own family, right? But what's really cool is the detail here. Look, it doesn't just teach mother and father, it also teaches mom and dad, grandmother and grandma. It's preparing them for how people actually speak English in the real world. That's a great touch. From family, we move on to personal identity. So now we're learning numbers. But again, it's not just a list to memorize, like 1, 2, 3. It's taught as part of a real question you can ask someone. I'm 7, how old are you? It's immediately useful, it's interactive. And you can see the student's world just keeps expanding. We've gone from family to their physical home, so you're learning bedroom, kitchen, living room. Every new word maps onto a real place that you, as the student, know intimately. You're not just learning random vocabulary. You're learning how to describe your own life in this brand new language. Okay, so the journey continues, moving outside the home and into the social world of school and playtime. And this is where things start to get really interactive and, honestly, a lot of fun. And that's when you see this key shift. As the vocabulary gets bigger, the book starts to turn the learning into a bunch of games. It's just such a smart way to keep these young kids engaged and excited to learn more. Here's a perfect example. They have a game called Find the Intruder. So look at this list. Sunday, brown, Friday, and Saturday. Can you spot the one that doesn't belong? Yeah, it's brown, right? This is such a clever way to teach categories. In this case, days of the week versus colors, instead of just drilling individual words. And it just keeps going with the super practical everyday vocabulary. Now students are learning the words for their actual school subjects. This lets them talk about their day. Well, when do you have English? Oh, on Sunday. What about maths? That's on Monday. It's all about their real life. And of course, you can't have school without playtime. So now we're introducing words for toys. Car, doll, robot, bike. This connects the new language directly to joy and fun, which, let's be honest, is probably the most important part of a third grader's world. So now we're in the final stretch, and this is where you really see all those little building blocks start to come together. The students have enough vocabulary now to start using more descriptive, more social language. This is a big step. Students are moving beyond just naming things. They're learning simple adjectives. So now it's not just a cat with a long tail. It's not just a bird, it's a canary with a short bill. Suddenly, their ability to describe the world around them becomes so much richer, so much more colorful. And this little comic strip of a birthday party is basically the climax of their entire year-long journey. It's amazing. You see everything they've learned. Greetings, invitations, being polite, all used in a completely natural social situation. This is that aha moment. This is when it all finally clicks. And then, at the very end of the book, after all the lessons and all the exercises, you get this one single triumphant sentence. It just says, "Wow, we speak English now." And that just perfectly captures that incredible, magical feeling of accomplishment, right? That moment when you realize all those little pieces have added up to a real, actual skill. You know, this whole journey through an Algerian textbook is such a cool reminder that learning a language is always, always about connection. It's about connecting words to actions, connecting those actions to people, and ultimately connecting people to each other. So it kind of leaves me wondering, what about you? What was your wow moment? What's the very first thing you remember learning in a new language that made you feel like, hey, I can actually do this?